Okay, good morning, everyone. We're just past the 10 o'clock hour. My name is Bill Gates. I'm with SCORE Westchester, and welcome everybody to our webinar on Instagram for small businesses, presented by Liz Woods, founder of Remarkable Moms, and sponsored by the Rye Free Reading Room, which, for those who don't know, is one of the jewels within the Westchester system of public libraries with plenty of events and online events in today's world. And if you have a chance, go to ryelibrary.org to take a look at it and everything that they have to offer. Liz, you want to move to the next slide?
Sure.
Hey, just real quick, for those who have not been on a Westchester SCORE webinar, we just want to give you a quick who we are. Our goal is to foster vibrant small businesses through free mentoring and education. We do that in one of three ways. I think the most important is confidential business mentoring, where we do one-on-one mentoring. We've got over 50 volunteer business mentors with wide-ranging experiences to help you out. We also provide webinars and workshops, obviously what we're doing today. And we also provide extensive online educational resources. We also obviously team up with partner organizations like the Rye Library today to provide these types of services. Again, you can reach us at 914-267-6570 or westchester.score.org. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We normally have in-person mentoring at the White Plains Library, but with the pandemic, that's closed. Knock on wood, we'll be doing it sometime this year, but time will tell. Next slide. Hey, just real quick, I think a lot of you guys have seen this. We're gonna do the presentation. We're gonna run through the presentation, and then we're gonna have some time available at the end, depending on time, but call it 10 or 15 minutes for Q&A. If you can, look at the Q&A box, not the chat box, to provide your questions. And we will then collate those and answer them as best as we can. And the last slide that I've got. So again, super excited to have Liz joining us. Liz is founder of Remarkable Moms based in Rye, New York. She has really grown her business through Instagram. And she's got obviously thousands of followers already. I think one reason why we were excited to have her is that she's also the co-president of the local Chamber of Commerce, which means that I think Liz knows the small business experience, and she's advised lots of folks. So I think she can tell you both the successes and mistakes of growing your business and growing it through Instagram. And probably most important, she's got 4 kids and a cat named Cuddles. So she is busy, and she is on a lot of the social media platforms. Do take a look at her YouTube channel. She's got a lot of great content there. And with that, I hand it over to Liz.
Thank you so much, Bill. I am really honored to be here as someone who has been mentored by SCORE. I feel honored to be invited to talk today. And thank you for coming, for everyone who's registered. I know that as a small business owner, your time is very precious. So I hope to make this hour extremely worthwhile for you. I've tried to jam pack it with tons of content. And I've been using Instagram for the last 3 years for my own business. And I've tried to take all of the strategies and tips that have worked best for me and consolidate them into this 1-hour course. So here we go. Instagram for small businesses. So here's where I'm going to stop my video and just have the presentation going. We good, Bill?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's many different ways to post on Instagram. Most people know about the Instagram feed, but there's also IGTV, Reels, Stories, going live. And today we're going to be focused on the Instagram feed. In my work with hundreds of businesses in Westchester, Greenwich, Fairfield County, the Sound Shore, I always get the same questions. What should I put in my profile? what should I post about, and how do I grow my account? So I've kind of divided our hour together in those 3 sections. And at the end of each section, I'm going to take a pause. And if you want to write some questions in the Q&A, you can write some. And then at the end of the presentation, I'll try to address the questions. So first, your profile. As a business owner or someone who's working as a real estate agent or any kind of business, it's really important that you have a professional account. With the professional account, you have, you have these 3 features that are really important for you. You have the ability to have your contact info front and center on your profile. So you have a button right here. You can adjust it to your cell phone, your email, but it's a really easy way for clients to contact you. You have this ability to see insights. So this is one of the most important parts, in my opinion, of the professional account. It's that you can view your insights. And I'm going to get more into this on the next slide, but this allows you to see the demographics of your followers and which posts have gotten the most engagement. And the third thing about the professional account is it allows you to do paid promotions. So let's say you only have 100 followers. If you're interested in pushing out a particular post to more than this 100 followers, you can actually pay Instagram to push it out further to people who don't follow you. So if you want to reach people within a 5-mile radius who are females, ages 35 to 50, you can create a promotion that would target this particular demographic. Instagram would take your credit card information and push it out to that particular audience that you're looking to talk with. And the more you pay, the more it gets pushed out, of course, but you can start as low as $5 and go up to hundreds. And so, like I said, it's really important to know your insights as someone who's posting for professional reasons. So I just want to go into that a little bit. When you click on the insights button, it's pretty amazing all the information you can learn. By the time you get to your profile, you click insights, you can see the insights of your demographic and the posts that you've made. So by looking at the demographic of your followers, Instagram shows you exactly who follows you, where do they live, their age, their gender, even the days of the week and the times of day that they're on Instagram. So all of this is really important information for you to know, because you can really target your plan and your social media strategy to address the person who follows you. And then you can also review the posts that you've made, and you can see which posts get the most engagement. So you can sort your posts by likes, by comments within the last year, within the last 30 days, within the last 7 days. And you can start to get a really clear picture of the posts that have resonated with your followers, which ones are getting the most engagement. Both of these are really important to know because with this information, you can start to develop an Instagram strategy that 1, targets your exact follower, and 2, isn't based on, you wake up first thing in the morning, you think like, oh, geez, what should I post today? But instead it's based upon evidence about what has worked in the past. So you can really develop something that is professional and actually works. So let's dive a little deeper into understanding your follower, and then we'll talk about what to put in your profile. When creating your Instagram strategy, it's important to remember it's not about you. It's really more important about what your follower wants. And they typically aren't on accounts because they want advertising. They want content that educates, that inspires them, that entertains them. So it's really important to get to know what your follower likes. And if you can identify your followers' age, gender, and most importantly, their problem or their pain point, then you can start creating a feed that addresses them directly. And you want your feed to solve their problem in most cases. And you can even get as specific as giving that person a name and post and write captions that are like that you're talking directly to that person. You always want them nodding in agreement with your posts. So for one example is, well, my own example is I know that the person who follows me is a female who lives in Westchester, ages 35 to 50. And a lot of them have a very strong education. A lot of them have had corporate jobs in the past, but they've been at home for the last 5 or 10 years. either taking care of a family member or mostly for taking care of the family. And at this point, they're looking to get back into the work world, into a corporate job, or to start a small business, and they need social media to help them. So knowing that information is very valuable for me because I'm not posting for someone who has a newborn baby at home, and I'm not posting to a mom who has a preschooler. It's a different type of post that I'm making. Let's see. So in your profile, you definitely want it to be complete and you want it to look very professional. So first, as a business, you want to be sure that all the parts are filled out. And let's start with your profile photo. I've got to say, my personal opinion is that you should have a photo of you or the business owner as the profile photo. It doesn't work for every single business, but a lot of small businesses, it's beneficial to have a picture of the owner as the profile picture. A lot of people put logos as their profile photo, and I have to say, I really feel like logos are not a really personal way to connect with your follower. But instead, a photo of you can really give your followers an instant first impression of your business. And I always give the example of if you were to pick a hair salon, if the profile photo was a picture of an older gentleman with gray hair, or a picture of a logo, or a picture of a young female with long flowing hair, most people, if you're looking for a hair salon, are going to pick the one with a person with long flowing hair. So right away, we subconsciously have a connection with that photo and make decisions based upon the profile photo. I understand that's not for every business. I'm just clarifying that that has worked for me. In your bio section, so this right here, you have a really short space, about 3 lines, to write who you are. And here's what you really want. This is like, you really want to address the person who's following you, what their problem is, and how you can solve it. So if you think of it kind of like a little elevator pitch, think, who do I help, do what, and so that what. So it could be something like, I help college students lose weight so they can prepare for their dream of running a marathon. Or I help teenagers learn to study SAT skills so they can be less stressed and less anxious. For me, I help small businesses learn Instagram strategies so they can make money. So if you can really get clear on what your business does and what it offers, that's a really great place to put that. At the very top, you have what's called your handle, and that's the @ with your username after it. Hold on one second. So every time you go on Instagram and you make a comment on someone else's account, your handle is what shows up, and it's a clickable link. So it's really important that it's readable and represents your business well. Sometimes people will have something as, it's very hard to read. So they might have their account name be 4528 Sarah as their handle, and it doesn't really tell me anything about their business. But instead, if it were something like sarah.westchester.real estate, that's a really accurate description of what her account is about. So if I were interested in Westchester real estate and she made a comment on my account, I might click on her name to see what she does and where she works and what her business is all about. So it's important to have it be readable and represent your business well. And then also you have on your profile these highlights here, which are the saved version of your Instagram stories. And I'm not going to get into these too much today, but know that these are another opportunity to share with your follower the things that you offer. It's like a table of contents almost of the things that you offer your followers. Okay, so that, am I racing through, is a quick explanation of what your profile should include and the benefits of having a professional account. And we can move on to quality content. So moving on to quality content, everyone asks me what should I post about? And there's one big idea that I want to share with you that is central to all of your posting. And it answers the question, why do I always see the same 10 or 20 people in my feed when I go on social media? This is true for Instagram, typically Facebook, LinkedIn. We're always seeing the same people. And the truth is, the amount of time people spend on your content, the more often you pop up in their feed. It's a matter of the time that you spend. So Instagram is a business that we know, and it wants us coming back for more. So it's giving us the content that we have told it that we like. And how does Instagram measure that? It's in the time that we are spending on other people's posts. So if you are scrolling through someone's pictures, if you like their posts, if you comment on their posts, if you check out their profile, you're telling Instagram, hey, this is content I like, give more of this to me. And so Instagram puts more of that content in your feed. Um, so as someone who's posting for their business, it's important because you want to be creating content that gets people to slow down and that they engage with. So this is where I'm going to share my best strategies with you for getting engagement and getting people to slow down. And the first most obvious one is to post consistently. If you aren't giving your followers content to look at, then they're not going to be spending any time with you. And when you make a post, your goal is to get engagement. You want people to like, you want people to comment, share your post, and even save your post. And if they send you a direct message, that's great too. It's really telling Instagram that, you're someone that's a real follower and you're really engaged with them. So another really important thing to know is when you make a post, it does not go out to all of your followers. If you have 100 followers, it might go out to 20 of those followers. And Instagram looks to see that first hour, are people liking and commenting on your post? Are they engaging? And if it is getting engagement, then they will take your post and send it out to more of your followers. So it's important to know what time your follower is on Instagram. And for me, I know that my follower is on, and I'm sure many of us, is on at 7 o'clock in the morning. When we wake up, we're all checking our phones first thing, almost before we say good morning to our family. And so I always try to post first thing in the morning because I know that if I post at 11 or noon, my engagement is much lower than if I post at 7 a.m. I also know that if I wake up at 2 in the morning and I can't sleep, it does not make sense for me to post then either because my follower is not on at that hour. So I'm not going to get a lot of engagement in that hour. And so Instagram won't push it out to all of my followers. So we want to be always creating engaging posts. So the first thing you want to do is add photos that are beautiful and attractive to your follower. And if you can include video, that's always going to win. Writing a great caption, mentioning people with the @sign, using 30 hashtags, and tagging people are 5 things that you should be including in every post. And I know this is like in an ideal world, you're going to do this, but we're going to go through each of those things right now. So we're going to start with a great photo. So when you add photos, try to have them be photos that evoke emotion. A lot of times, simply having people smiling is a great way to get engagement in a photo. One strategy to get people to slow down is just simply post more than one photo. I work with a lot of agents who work maybe at Houlihan Lawrence or Sotheby's, and I always recommend don't just post a picture of the outside of a house, but post a picture of the living room, the yard, the kitchen, and this will get people to slow down and swipe through. Another great way, and this, like I said, wins every time, is post video. It can be simple. You don't have to have a video of you talking and, have it be extremely professional. But again, going back to a real estate agent, for example, you can, instead of taking a photo of the front of a house, do a 10-second video that scans the front of the house. And that is going to get someone to really slow down because we all know when we're scrolling through Instagram, you might scroll through and only spend a quarter of a second on someone's photo, but a 10-second stop for someone is a lot of time being spent on your post. So it's a really great way to get people to slow down and engage. I work with the owner of Pink on Purchase Street here in Rye, and she, instead of posting photos of her shop, started posting videos of all the new displays she has. And she's said to me, like, her engagement is way up and people are stopping in the store because they want to see what she has because they saw it on Instagram. So, and the other thing is making some kind of cohesive effort. So if you have a color scheme or font that you're using, there's a great app called Canva, and that can help you kind of develop a little bit of a graphic design for your feed that makes it look really professional. I'm not going to talk, about Canva today, but it's just if you want to reference some graphic design tips, that's a great website and app. So another way to get people to slow down is to write long captions. People love to know the story of your business. So make it personal, make it enticing. You can use emojis, um, and make it look nice. So leave spacing so it's not one big chunk of information. But one important thing is to remember to have a call to action. What do you want people to do after reading your post? Do you want them to send you a direct message? Do you want them to tag a friend below? You can't have active links in your captions, but you can say, visit the link in my bio if you want them to check that out. And one little fun tip to know, and kind of relieving tip, is that 1 to 3% engagement is good. So if you have 100 followers and you're getting 1 to 3 likes on a post, that is really good engagement. Another thing to know is responding to every comment will bump up your engagement too. So if someone writes to you, try to get even more engagement. Write a question back and see if they'll write again. The more times people are returning to your post, commenting on it, liking it, the better it is for you. If you want to check out an account, I work with Hillary Mara. She's in Pleasantville, and her account is The Edible Gardenist. She does a great job of writing engaging captions, and they're really friendly. She's a gardener, so she uses all kinds of flower emojis and really tells the story of her family while promoting her business. Okay. And one little simple tip is to use the language of your followers. When you're talking on Instagram, it's not like you're writing a research paper. You want to be using the language of someone who has emailed you or who has texted you recently about your business. So look at those emails, look at those texts, and see what language they use, and then repeat that language in your post. So if they're writing about a problem that they have, repeat that in the captions of your posts, address their problems. I recently worked with the owner of Birdie's Auto Spa, which is a car spa in Fairfield in Westchester County. And he explained to me that when he started posting, he was always posting pictures of shiny cars and fast cars. And then he realized that his clients are mostly moms. And when they wrote to him, they would say, I constantly have goldfish in my backseat and chicken nuggets crushed in the corner of my car. Can you help me get that out? And he started changing his captions to say things like, are you sick and tired of having goldfish and pirate booty in your back seat? And it's really helped him. And I think it's a really smart change because for me personally, I don't necessarily need a fast, shiny car. I want it to be clean and neat and feel good when I'm driving it. So I think that's a really smart thing to think about. Okay, another thing that you can do is mention people in your posts. And to do this, all you do is you write an @ with their username. There's no space or anything. You just put their username right after the @. And what happens is that person will get a notification that you mentioned them in their post. And it also turns their name into a hyperlink. So it's a great way to collaborate with other accounts because one, those people are likely to engage. If I get a notification that someone mentioned me in a post, I'm sure to check it out and see what the post is about. And of course, they mentioned me, so I'm going to like it and comment on it. And you can mention anyone. The great thing about Instagram is you don't need to be friends with the people that you're mentioning. So you can get the attention of accounts that maybe don't know about you. And for me, I think that's beneficial. Like I could mention News 12 or a local newspaper and just let them know that I have an event going on, or, maybe they'll share it with a friend or share it on their social media. Okay, so another strategy for engagement, and I'm going to switch to Instagram in just a minute, is to use hashtags. And I think this is one of the things that people ask me about most. But if you think of Instagram as a search engine, people use the hashtag symbol before relevant keywords or phrases in their captions so they can categorize the post and help them show up more easily in searches. So when I look at my 16-year-old's Instagram feed, His is full of sports content, ESPN, MLB, NBA, and that's because he follows these certain hashtags. So I'm going to just switch over to Instagram for a minute if I can. Whoop. And show you. So on Instagram, you can search different hashtags. So we'll use the example of my son. If he were interested in, let's do NBA. You can see a lot of people use that hashtag. So anybody who uses hashtag NBA are here. And that's important information because now he is going to start getting anyone who uses hashtag NBA in his feed. So as someone who's posting, it's important to understand how hashtags can be used because you can start connecting with people who are not your follower and who just have similar interests as you. Whoopsies. And remind me, how do I click view again? Oh, view, here we go. So there we go. Okay, so when you're using hashtags, you can use 30 in your posts. You want to switch your hashtags according to the post that you made. So a lot of people will ask, can I use the same 30 every time? You can, but you really want it to reflect the image that you're posting about. And you can even use them within the caption of your sentences. So what I do a lot of times is I'll write my caption and, return a couple of times. So there's a space after my caption and put the hashtags in the bottom. Or I will use them right within a sentence, not 30, but maybe 1 or 2 within the sentences of my caption. One little tip you can do is keep a running list of your hashtags in the notes section on your phone so you can quickly copy and paste them so you're not retyping them every time. But it is a strategy to connect with people who are just interested in your content. And then people always ask, what hashtag should I use? So there's 4 main areas that I would recommend. One is industry. So what is your business? So for me, I might do hashtag inspirational moms. If you're an agent, a real estate agent, you might do hashtag Westchester real estate, hashtag do it yourself projects, anything, whatever, hashtag Westchester restaurants. Those, you have to think of your business and that's what you want to use. If there's a particular pain point that you solve, hashtag losing weight, hashtag how to make money for me, hashtag social media marketing tips, those kinds of things, whatever problem you solve is a good hashtag. And these 2, I think for small businesses are the most important. The third one is hashtag the communities that you're trying to reach. So hashtag Rye Moms, any town plus moms always, works because a lot of moms are on Instagram. So hashtag Armonk Moms, hashtag Scarsdale Moms, those communities are the ones that you're trying to reach. But you can do things like hashtag gardeners or hashtag Westchester gardeners or hashtag do-it-yourselfers, whatever communities that you're trying to attract, those are the ones that you want to be using. And then location. So every town has a hashtag. So hashtag zip codes, hashtag the town plus the state. So Rye NY is a common one that I use. Harrison NY, Scarsdale NY, anything like that is a good hashtag to use. And then the 5th thing that you can do in your post is tag people that are in the photo. So what happens when you tag someone is they get a notification that they've been mentioned in the post, and it's similar to mentioning them. But what happens is when you tag someone, there's a tab on their profile, and that photo will be saved in their photos of you tab. So it's a little bit more permanent than just mentioning someone. Again, the recipient is very likely to engage with you if you tag someone. They'll like it, they'll comment on it, they'll share your post. That's the reason why it's a great idea to tag people. You can connect with influencers and people who don't know you. And they can look it up in their profile anytime. So tagging is a little bit more permanent because it goes into a part of their profile. And if they're interested in what you said, and maybe like in 6 months, they're thinking, oh, what was that post someone tagged me in? They can search through their own photos tab and see what the post was. And an example of this is this one right here. I worked with the owner of Pigment Restoration in Mamaroneck, and she got a ton of new clients simply by tagging people she was interested in connecting with. In her business, she does medical tattooing. So after people have surgery, they might go to her to get their skin to look like it did before surgery. Lorraine, who's the owner, she started tagging different hospitals. She started tagging different surgeons in the area. And she said they started sending her their patients because the number one question they get after surgery is, how do I get my skin to look better? And before she started tagging them, they didn't know where to send anyone. But once she made her business available to them and they were aware of it, they were then able to recommend her business to them. So it can be an effective way to connect with others. And the other reason to tag people is because, like I said earlier, Instagram's always trying to find a demographic that would be interested in posts. So let's say you tag me in a post and I like it, then Instagram thinks, well, if Liz likes it, maybe Liz's neighbor would like it, and maybe Liz's sister would like it. So they're more likely to push that post out to people's feeds when it otherwise might not have gone. Okay. What to post about. So the third question I get is, what should I post about? And I've got to say, my overarching answer is look at your own insights and repeat what does best. I'm going to share with you what does best on my account, but the only way to know what will work best for you is to look at your own personal insights. Everyone is different. So happy to share with you what I've done. And I think a lot of the ideas can be replicated with different businesses, but it is so important to look at your insights. So one thing that's really important for small businesses is to educate about their brand. Why did you start? What's the story of your business? Who's the owner? Who works there? What are the benefits of working with you versus a competitor? These are the things that really help you connect with followers and develop a genuine relationship with them. One of the best posts that I've ever done was when I shared about how I started Remarkable Moms. And for me, it started with my journey of going back to school to get certified to teach. And in that journey, I had to create videos of myself teaching in a classroom and send it to the state for assessment. And I got really nervous because I'd never done that before. So I started practicing making videos with my kids. And I asked a friend to do an interview with me, and I posted a few on social media, and people recommended that I keep going with it and keep going with it. And I did. So people are interested in knowing the behind the scenes stories of business owners. And I think it's sometimes hard to post about yourself, but I think it's an effective thing to include in all of your posting. Another thing that's great for small businesses is to share authentically and honestly. Sharing your struggles is a great way to connect with people. We are all living through a pandemic right now, and it's very hard for everybody, but everybody loves authenticity and honesty. So whether it's social distancing, school closures, business closures, you name it, we're all in a really tough time right now. So if you can share about what's been hard for you, but also how you deal with it and what you've learned in the process, people generally are drawn to a good story with someone's work ethic involved and appreciate that you're sharing that it's hard. Another one that works for me is inspire. So inspirational posts. Again, if you can identify your followers' pain point and have a recurring theme of what your business stands for, and it can be repeated over and over in your feed in different ways, that typically works. So for me, I might post my philosophy like a little bit every day. I think this is important for social media. It could be, like I'm going to learn something and try one strategy for the next month and see how I'm doing in 30 days. It could be, someone in your family's ill, and the only thing you could do is take little steps every day. It's a philosophy of mine that I try to repeat over and over in my social media. And it resonates with my followers. So again, you want your followers nodding in agreement, never anything political, but what your overarching philosophy is, I think is something that you can share. And then, of course, you need to promote your product and services. When you make this kind of post, expect lower engagement. People, I mean, as you know, as a user, when you see, a picture of someone smiling versus an advertisement, you're going to click like and comment on the picture of someone smiling. So, but you do need to include this in your feed. It's a business account, so you have to be advertising along the way. Make sure at the end of your post, you want to write a nice engaging caption, but have a call to action. Like I said earlier, how is your customer supposed to contact you? What is the way that they should respond to your post if they want to purchase from you or schedule an appointment with you? Do you want them to send you a direct message, which is, in my opinion, a very easy way to connect with people on Instagram? Do you want them to comment below? Whatever it is, just make sure you're reminding them of what the action is that needs to be taken. So within this feed of educating about your team and your philosophy and your product and your services, you have a lot of combination of posts that you can choose from. And it becomes almost like a picture story of your business, the people, the philosophy, what you sell. And I think that's a good way to think about Instagram. If you could represent your business as in photos, it might help you develop your strategy. Okay, account growth. Last but not least, how do I grow my account? So one thing that I want to make clear is that you don't need 10,000 followers to have a successful Instagram account. This quote from Tim Ferriss: "It's more profitable to be a big fish in a small pond than a small undefined fish in a big pond." I feel like small business owners need the reminder. It's okay to be local, but you want to use Instagram effectively so you're meeting the right people at the right time. Um, Okay, so you definitely first and foremost want to be posting on social media, but you also need to be commenting and liking on social media. You need to be active in other ways um, besides just making a post and then turning your phone off. So I always say, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, go engage with other people on Instagram. So go through your feed, like and comment on other people's posts who follow you. You can also look up hashtags, and let's say you search hashtag Harrison, New York, and you go through and see who's making posts in Harrison, New York. You can start liking and commenting on those posts. And what happens is you can start to develop relationships with people who you're trying to connect with businesses who you like what they're doing and hope that they'll like what you're doing. And it really can get your name in front of other businesses and different followers in the area. And this is also why it's important to have your handle represent your business well. And I'm just looking post. Yeah, if you have personal accounts, you can also post there too. So use your business account, but also keep your personal accounts active, because when you post in your personal accounts, again, you're just reminding people of your name and your brand. It may have nothing to do with your name and brand, but it is important to just kind of keep your name in people's minds. And then you want to make comments not at all related to your business. So if someone's posting a baby picture, you want to be commenting how much you love the baby and develop their relationships. Know that your family and friends posts those are the people who are the first to recommend you. So be active on their accounts. You want to have good relationships with those people, of course. And know your weekly insights. So like I said in the very beginning, know your insights. Go to your insights in your profile and review your audience and know your target audience and repeat the posts that are working. The more clearly you can identify the posts that work for you, then you can start to create a content that your followers like, and then the more engagement you're going to get. And then the more engagement you get, the more you pop up in people's feeds, and you'll have a strategic approach to your posts instead of that, first thing in the morning feeling of like, gosh, what am I going to post about today? Like, I have no idea what to post about. Instead, it's much more strategic and with evidence of why you should be posting. And just so you know that I posted another recurring theme that works for me is when I post about gratitude. So if one thing that's really authentic for me is I like to walk, and I'm always taking pictures of nature. When I post pictures of nature and I write about how grateful I am for the day and, health and blue skies and things like that, that's something that really resonates with my audience. So while it's not fake for me, it's very authentic. I consciously take photos and maybe once a month make a post like that because I know it resonates with my followers. So knowing all this information, you've created posts, you see which ones work, you know your demographic, then you can start to create a content calendar that works for you. So you might say, I'm going to have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday strategy. Mondays, I'm going to post about the story of my business. I'm going to post about the people who work there, about me, how we got started. Wednesday might be more of an inspirational post. So posting about our philosophy, what we're grateful for. And Friday is the day that you're going to promote a product or service. You might have an event on the weekends or an open house or a product that just came out. And I'm not saying this is the strategy that you should use. I'm just saying, as an example, you might start to have a calendar that instead of having that stress of, gosh, what should I post about? You can just have buckets of content that you're pulling from and repeating. And what I do is I spend 30 minutes in the morning and I make my post. So I wake up, I make my post, and people will say to me, gosh, you must spend a ton of time on social media. And the truth is I do spend a lot of time, but I'm not fully absorbed in sitting there like all day long and, liking and commenting and making posts on Instagram. But what I do is I try to make a post first thing in the morning, done with my post. And then as I have breaks throughout my day, I'll go on, like and comment on other people's feeds and continue on with my day. A few little notes. One is that your pattern doesn't need to be strictly followed. You can be aware of holidays and events in society. If there's a natural catastrophe or something really bad going on, you don't want to come out with some perky post. You definitely want to be reflecting the conversation that's going on in your community. So if it's snowing and everybody's talking about snowing, talk about snowing in your posts. One little time saver is you might batch pictures. So you can spend 30 minutes on a weekend taking photos and then heart those, like tap the heart button under those. And then when you post on Instagram, you'll just have them there for easy retrieval. You can create albums. So it's, if you have organized photos, it's a little bit easier to post on Instagram. There are outside apps that you could use. I do not use these, but there's Hootsuite, Later, Plan, and they do some auto posting for you. So if you're the type of person that's like, I just want to get my social media done on Sunday and have it post for the week and have it post to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn all at once, then those might be things you consider. For me, first of all, I like to be timely. Like I think the instant posting of like exactly what's going on today is important. And for me, and then I'm just not organized enough to, to be able to plan out 7 days in advance. And the other thing to think about is people are skimming on social media. Done is better than perfect. So don't wait around for some perfect post and some perfect photo. People love the authentic photos. Another example of something that went really well for me is I posted a picture of me sitting on my couch with slippers on, and people love that kind of thing. When you're really being yourself and really being authentic, people enjoy that. So be authentic. So to recap, and then I'll take some questions, have a strong profile and share how you help your follower. Post content that's authentic and addresses your followers' pain points. And I should have an apostrophe there, but I don't, I'm sorry. And create a schedule that works for you. And then in addition to posting, be sure to engage with your followers every day. And like I said, my motto is a little bit every day. So if you take one strategy that you've learned and apply it, one strategy a day, within 30 days, you're going to have a whole social media plan that you didn't a month ago. Okay, and this is so let's go to Q&A. And should I stop my share now? Let's see.
Liz, why don't you keep it on?
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Hi.
And thank you so much. Let me see, we are at about 10:45 or so. So we've got plenty of time for questions, and we do have a lot of questions. And I noticed, by the way, in the chats, it sounds like my picture was up during the presentation or during the good piece of it. in addition to Liz. I think it was only just to prove that the other Bill Gates was not actually in this presentation. It was the Westchester score Bill Gates. Um, all kidding aside,
The
um,
the more
the
popular, more successful one was
yes,
us.
exactly. So hey, just some housekeeping real quick. There were a lot of questions about the slides. Yes, the slides will be available. Yes, a recording of the slides will be available. And those will get posted. And people can tell me if I'm incorrect, but they should be posted to the Westchester Score website. And they'll be done after the presentation, usually up in the next day or so. So obviously take a look. And then secondly, the presentation that Liz did was really about strategy on Instagram. And I think there were a couple technical questions. And I think we're going to stay away from those. That's not where Liz's focus has been. And that's not what we want to spend the time on. There's been a lot of good strategy questions. So we'll try and answer those. And obviously we'll try to get to as many as we can. So just as it relates to from a strategy standpoint, and this is kind of a little of what I think we've been talking about, but just again, from a summation standpoint, somebody asked the question, so, what is the general focus of Instagram? Is it to stay on posts for a particular length of time? What is a good average? Getting engagement, call to action? What is most critical that you think Instagram does vis-a-vis some of the other platforms?
Right. Well, it's definitely the picture format that sets Instagram apart. It's not for conversation, that's for sure. That's more of a Twitter, Facebook kind of place. And LinkedIn is more for your business networking. And like I said in my presentation, I think Instagram is really like a picture version of your business. If you can get if you can share a real story of your business with your followers, and they're going to know and connect with you.
Okay. And there was thematically, there's a bunch of questions around this, which is it easy to switch back and forth from professional accounts to personal accounts? Best practice, is it should I have separate accounts for personal and business?
So yes, when you switch your account to professional, it's just a setting that you would go to and switch to professional. And if you find that you don't like professional, some people opt not to have it because it is more of a public view. When you have your own private account, you can keep it private and not have everyone on earth follow you. So it's a personal preference, but the professional account does give you access to those features that I mentioned in the talk, which I feel like for a business is what you want.
Okay. Here's one. I'm totally new to Instagram. Could you tell me how long an ideal post should be? I know you spent some time talking about it, but just to reiterate, as you
How
think,
long the caption should be?
yeah,
I mean, every post is going to be a little bit different. The max is 2,200 characters. So that kind of answers it for you. You can only do 2,200. I would say the longer, the better, because you're going to be getting people to slow down to read as long as it's engaging.
Mhm. And I think somebody asked the question, is there for Instagram professional, there was a minimum size that you needed, like 100?
Yes, I think you need 100 people to start seeing your insights.
Okay. Um, does Instagram value your post less if it's something that you posted on Facebook and shared to Instagram from your Facebook account?
You
Or should
can
you just post directly to Instagram?
you can only post from Instagram to Facebook. So it's not even an option to post from Facebook to Instagram.
And then, I mean, as you think about it with the algorithms that these platforms use, with the objective, obviously, to get more people following you, paid versus organic, what strategy should you think about?
Oh, I am a firm believer in organic. If you pay for followers, a lot of times those are just bots, across the ocean, and they're not even real people. So I think as a business owner, that's what I was saying. You don't need 10,000 followers. You need real people who are your real customers following you. And if that's 200 people and they see your posts every day, that's awesome because you're reminding them of your brand every day. If there's 10,000 bots, in, I don't know, India or something, that doesn't serve you well.
Okay. Um, and here again, sort of, what's the best practice? What's the better or right combination of posts versus stories? And I know there's no perfect answer.
Yeah, well, I would say you want to be in as many places as you can. With every post that you make, if you look under your post, there's a little paper airplane. You can click that and it'll go straight to your story. So it's really easy to be in two places at once on Instagram. And I think it's important to be in two places at once because I know a lot of users are only looking at stories now. So if you can get, two locations for your post for the price of one, I think that's, you want to be in both places if you can.
Mhm. Another posting question, in this mobile world that we live in versus desktop, posting via your phone or posting via the computer, is it?
Yeah, you
uh,
can't post to Instagram from your computer. It's only mobile.
okay.
You can look at Instagram like I showed you with the hashtags. You cannot make a post from your computer.
All right. Um, here's a, and I think um, it's a question related to a specific business, but I think people can draw parallels to it.
Mhm.
I make art dolls and do classes, so very visual. Should I just use photos, or should I also use photos and stories?
I would use both. I
Okay.
mean, the more places you can be, the better. It's kind of the obvious, like the more posting you can do, the better. When she says photos, does she mean photos in the feed? Is that?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and the stories are more like, you want to be sharing the behind the scenes, make them fun and engaging. There's a lot of, little emojis you can add to them. And stories are another great place to get engagement because you can add polls, you can ask questions, you can do quizzes. So I always try to add something that gets people to tap on my stories, which is one of the tips that I really recommend when I work with my clients. Try and get engagement in everything that you do. Don't just post something to your stories for the sake of posting, but try and get people to tap on it or like it, or something that gets them. I always like to visualize someone's fingers out when they look at my stuff.
Some hashtag questions.
Hmm.
Is it better to use a super popular hashtag or a more nichey one?
Niche for sure. A lot of times people, and it goes back to you don't need like 10,000 people following you. If you use hashtag like love or hashtag go, you're going into a huge ocean of people using those hashtags, and it probably isn't going to get you in anybody's feed. But if you can be more specific and say something like hashtag Westchester restaurant, that's going to get you into a feed where much less people use that hashtag. I mean, thousands of people use it, but not millions of people use it. So you're more likely to pop up in people's feeds who are interested in that particular business. I don't know what business it is, but I'm just saying,
Mhm.
to be more local is better and to be more niche.
Got it. Um, and then can you make or create your own hashtags, or do you need to use hashtags that already exist?
You can create your own, and if people start using it, that's great. I would say it's kind of tricky to get people to start using it, but like for the Rye Chamber of Commerce account, we started a hashtag called Rise Up, and RYES up. And people did start using it, especially during the pandemic, where it was like a call to action, like rise up, help your local businesses. So it was kind of a fun way to see people using that hashtag. Um, I would say, for a small business, it might be something that people start using, and there's no harm in not using. Like you have 30 to use, you might as well create one and see if it works.
Mhm.
But always, like I said, repeat what works. And if that hashtag is working for you, then use it.
And is there advice on the right number of hashtags to be using?
Well, you can use 30. And I know that there's debate about like, oh, I don't want to look annoying and use 30 hashtags. But I kind of feel like if you're advertising for your business, then you're using it strategically. You're not using it to annoy people or to be in people's faces. And I use the analogy of something like McDonald's. If they advertise all the time on TV, and like when I was a kid, it was like, McDonald's, McDonald's, McDonald's. And the truth is, it's annoying. But the solution isn't McDonald's advertising less. The truth is, I should be watching TV less. So you want to be using the hashtags because you want to be popping up in people's feeds. And then if people don't like it, then they can block you or not follow you. But I think you have to think of it strategically and not as like a personal choice that you're making on a personal account. It's totally different. For a business, you want to be using those hashtags.
Mhm. Okay. Here's a industry-centric question. In setting up one's profile, do you have a different or unique advice for small retail stores who mostly sell in brick and mortar?
No, it's the same advice. You want to be saying, who do you help, do what, and so that what. So it can be if you sell gifts, if you have a gift shop, you might sell like helping my clients or families find the perfect gift to bring happiness to, birthday parties or something, where you're sharing exactly what you do, who you target, and how you're the solution for your follower.
Mhm. And maybe I think this is just reiteration of what you've said, but again, and I know that there's no perfect answer, but how much time should one spend posting on Instagram? How often? Again, based on a repeated.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the more the better. I mean, I would say I don't think you need to do more than 5 times a week. You talk to someone else and they're going to say you should be posting multiple times a day. I think that's excessive, personally. Um, and then once you do post, you can be liking and commenting on other people's posts. There's ways to be active besides always having a new post, but you can share your post to stories, and there's ways to engage with people that you don't, I don't think multiple times a day is necessary.
Mhm. And I think this is sort of a follow-up, which maybe you can give a sense of time, but somebody asked, because you're doing such a good job, how do you or your clients find the time to do all of this? Seems overwhelming, especially for this small business owner.
Yeah, and I think it's partly calendar management. I think you have to look at your calendar and say, okay, I'm going to spend 45 minutes today creating a post, writing my caption, putting it on Instagram. It is, part of your marketing and advertising, so you do have to make a commitment to it. It's not the kind of thing that you can just, off the cuff have a great post one day and have 30 hashtags, and it takes time. I'm not going to lie. That being said, like I said, I try to do it first thing in the morning, post, and then just check in throughout the day. And um, the thing is, I find a lot of value in it. So, so it's important for me to do it. That's why I do it. Otherwise I wouldn't, but you have to do what works for your business. If that's not working for you, then go getting you customers.
And light at the end of the tunnel. Do you find that once you hit a certain number of clients, that it becomes easier and it kind of feeds on itself? And it's a lot of hard work, obviously, to get things going. But was there a point as you were going through your journey of growing your follower base where it started to get easier because it kind of fed on itself?
Um, I'm gonna say no. I feel like every day I'm working to grow it. I mean, of course, at this point, there's a little bit more of a word of mouth for me that people are recommending my services to people, and so that helps me a lot. But I've got to say, on Instagram, it's a grind. It's you're constantly trying to create posts, and every time I post, I have a little knot in my stomach. Like, I hope this goes well. So it's work for sure.
Okay. Here's one. Always people talk about, different platforms from a demographic standpoint. I'm a live event technical consultant producer. Is this platform for a younger demographic, or is it age independent?
Instagram is mostly ages, let's say 20. I mean, my teenager has it, my 11-year-old does not. So let's say ages 25 to 50. Most people who are 50 and older are new to Instagram and learning it and are on Facebook. Um, the young kids are on TikTok.
Mhm.
And they might have an Instagram account, but they don't actively post. It's not what like it is for, let's say, a 30-year-old who is active on it and posting all the time.
Got it. We've got time for, I think, one more. You talked about this before, but I've seen this. you talked about some of the other platforms that can help. Should one use a tool such as Hootsuite to have a post go up multiple times on multiple social media? I know you talked about not using it, but what are the pros and cons of using these platforms?
So, I mean, the cons for me is that you do have to have many, like the benefit is that you have many days of content already ready and they're ready to go. One thing that I have heard is that Instagram, Facebook, every platform wants you posting on their platform. They don't actually want you using an outside app because it's a business and so they want you on theirs. So I have heard that posts that are posted through like a Hootsuite might not get as much engagement or might not get pumped out as much on Instagram because Instagram doesn't necessarily like that. That being said, I've heard people also say that it works for them and it helps them just get their social media done on Sunday and then they don't have to worry about it besides the liking and commenting throughout the week. So you can play around with it and see if, I know that there's free trials, so you can play around with it and see, does it work? And are you getting engagement? And compare it to a post that you make on Instagram and how does the engagement go for that post?
Okay. One last question and we'll wrap up. A sign of things to come, I guess, TikTok for marketing. I know that we're not talking Instagram, but you know how these platforms morph over time.
Yep.
So this is a perspective question. What do you think about TikTok as a marketing?
I mean, I think if your market is kids, you have to be on TikTok. That's where they are. And I've got to say, as someone who I follow my kids on TikTok and what they're doing, it's really engaging. And I can see why they say, oh, Instagram's so boring. No one's moving and there's no talking or anything. There's no video. I mean, there's a little video, but it is why I think video is so important because it's engaging. You get to know the person right away. All of a sudden you trust them because it feels like you're having a conversation with them. So I do think TikTok is definitely something to consider if you have a younger demographic.
All right. I'll leave it there, and maybe that's the sign of a next webinar presentation.
Yes.
TBD. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Liz, for taking the time. It's been incredibly helpful. Hopefully, everybody else thought the same. And then, obviously, we would like to thank the Rye Library again for sponsoring the presentation. And a quick reminder, the slides and the recording will be available. So with that, we will talk to you soon and have a great day.
Wonderful. Feel free to reach out with further questions, guys. Thank you so much, SCORE and Rye Free Reading Room.